Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Do we need the hat? We don't need the hat. It's not bright yet. Just, what does that say? Just wrench it. Good morning. And Miss Story. Good morning. Mr. Spanky. It's an interesting name. Is that what they call you at all the clubs? Mr. Spanky. Hey, everybody. Mr. Spanky's here. Good morning, Lewis. The Constitutional Carpenter. I like that name. Good morning, honey. Hey, we're gonna eat some meat birds for dinner tonight. A couple of roosters. Okay. Tommy Salter, shalom, brother. Well, you're fixing to have more than one chicken sitting in the fridge because I'm over it. Yankees over it. We've taken a vote, and that chicken's getting voted off the island. So, good morning, Jeremiah. Anyway, good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here. No, that's my childhood nickname. It's Spanky. Thanks to my dad. Copy that, Mr. Spanky. As long as you're keeping your hands out of your drawers, I don't care what you do, okay? Okay. You, do that on your own time, okay? Awesome. Thank y'all for being here. Y'all are awesome. We appreciate you deeply. Pushing 88,000 folks here at the channel. That's incredible. If you've been here a time or two, or maybe 20, and you're like, I don't know about this bear guy. Hey, if you want to, you can subscribe. You can like this video. You can give it one of those little thumbs ups like this. But you have to do that motion when you hit the thumbs up button. If you don't do that motion, I don't want it. I don't want your half-assed thumbs up. I want this. Okay, cool. Subscribe, consider subscribing. Sharing, share this video out. The YouTube algorithms and us don't really get along all that well. It's because we're kind of into these things, and you know, we also like read our Bible on camera and talk about preparedness and those things. So YouTube don't love us, we don't love them back, and so when you do all of those things, it helps us greatly in the algorithm. So please, if you feel so convicted to do so, do so. Mucho apreciado, which is Espanol for thanks, bro. Okay. No, that would be gracias mis hermanos, question marco. Anyway, intel at bearindependent.com is how you get all these tasty intel nuggets into the hands of the dance monkeys, which compile this report, confirm the data, and then send it to me so that we can do this. So if you have tasty intel nuggets to feed those poor, starving little mangy creatures that I have locked inside of wrought iron cages, the dance monkeys, intel at bearindependent.com. And if they'd behave, I'd let them out, but they don't behave. So we keep them locked in a dungeon because that's the way it goes. Sorry, not sorry, as my Canadian project manager likes to say. Patreon.com is where you will find the entirety of this report. We have to, because of the length of this report today is 8 pages long. We need to use some brevity when we address this report here for free on YouTube. If you'd like the entire report, get out of my face bug, the new bear dance. Yeah, we're gonna call this track Get Out of My Face Bug. And if we just do this nonstop during the brief, there's a high likelihood that bugs will stay away from us. There's a really low likelihood that I'll actually be able to read the brief. But, you know, it'll look cool. Patreon.com is where you find the entirety of this brief. Just go to patreon.com. Look for Bear Independent. You'll find us $1 or more a month out of your wallet. Get you access to a minimum of 24 exclusive pieces of content a month, to say nothing of the daily brief and all the supporting documents and pics that go along with it. Plus exclusive live streams, men's group Monday, women's group Wednesday, exclusive Thursday Patreon live stream, which we have coming up this week. That's an every other week kind of thing. And all the other things, man. A lot of in-depth discussion on preparedness there, as well as like behind the scenes and insider intel. So, Bear Independent Intel Report 18 May 2020 overview. The numbers continue to climb. Global 4.789 million active cases, 4,789,000, with 2,625,000 of those cases being active. So just about 4.8 million cases, with 2.6 million being active. Global deaths are 316,000, and global recoveries are 1.847 pajillion. That's like bajillion, but it's pajillion, which is even more. It's not quite as many as cajillion, Now, I'm getting these facts from a toddler, so, you know, take it with a grain of salt here, but pajillion is a lot. So 1.847 pajillion global recoveries, which is cool. US cases are 1.524 million, with just over a million of those being active, 1,090,000 active cases. US deaths are over 90,000 now, 90,900 US deaths, which means it's entirely likely, probably by the end of the month, that we'll see 100,000 people dead from COVID-19 in the United States. And boy, there's a rabbit hole that we can jump into there. US recoveries are 343,105. As we've reported on before, again, bearing in mind that we are neither a news agency nor an intelligence agency, we are simply trying to facilitate the sharing of intel and information amongst the Bear Nation, which is y'all. It's y'all assuming that you've subscribed. If you haven't subscribed, you're just looking at the Bear Nation longingly on the other side of the fence, going, man, I bet you the grass is greener over there. And it is. It is. We love this grass. It's delicious grass. The cool thing about the grass is that we don't actually eat the grass. We feed it to animals that have the superpower of turning grass into meat, and then we eat them, because that's how we roll in the Bear Nation. So, you know, join us or don't. It's fun. There's a picture from back in the day of a rattlesnake cut into pieces that says, join or die. We're not quite there yet, but you never know. A 62-nation coalition, which is not like a 7-nation army, which couldn't hold me back. But a 62-nation coalition is backing the European Union's and Australia's joint push for independent inquiry into the outbreak's origins. Whiskey Alpha Romeo. China is no longer returning the Australian trade minister's phone calls after threatening trade retaliation last week. Whiskey Alpha Romeo. Indonesia is accusing China of working Indonesian fishermen on Chinese fishing ships to death and dumping their bodies overboard. Indonesia's intel agency website has been hacked by a Chinese tool. China conducted a cyber attack on Vietnam, and so on. Whiskey Alpha Romeo. In fact, if we could use two phrases to describe today's report to you, it would be Whiskey Alpha Romeo and tyranny. And pretty much, if you're doing the threat matrix in your head today, just go with those two. That's the Scissorbeak. Got a kill order on Scissorbeak? Nice. Nice. Plausible deniability. I never heard that. Don't write it down. Listen, everybody delete that part of the video. Okay? Okay. Copy. It's only, listen, it's only over 600 people that know now. It's fine. Yeah, they're idiots. They lay eggs in the compost pile. They're like, this looks like a good place to make butt nuggets. I'll sit in the compost pile and lay an egg here. They're such majestic creatures. We can't eat them. They're beautiful. They're like nature's unicorns, and they poop rainbows. No, they're food. They are the foodiest food that ever fooded. Gosh, shiny object squirrel syndrome. Whiskey Alpha Romeo and tyranny is essentially what we're tracking today in this report. There's a little bit of economic crisis, there's a little bit of food shortage, there's a little bit of civil unrest, but as you're developing your threat matrix today, whether that's, you know, physically on a sheet of paper or on a whiteboard or in your brain, Whiskey Alpha Romeo and tyranny are kind of like the top two categories today. And for y'all who are new, this threat matrix looks something like food shortage, economic collapse, civil unrest, tyranny and or elections, war, Whiskey Alpha Romeo, disinformation, and examples of Rome burning. Rome is burning. The empire is collapsing, yo. And so those 7 things are the 7 things that we kind of, the 7 categories that we take all these little nuggets and kind of chunk them into each one of these categories, okay? So, yeah. Shall we continue? Meanwhile, there have been several reports of individuals in the U.S. being arrested for their ties with China. It is believed that this is part of the U.S. crackdown on China's theft of intellectual property, which they have been doing forever and a day. We've known about it forever and a day. The reason that it's coming now, I believe, this is me pontificating, the reason that it's coming now, and we've known about it for literal decades, is because that we are continuing, we, the big collective, we, the feds, are continuing to put the nation on a war footing. Maybe the current presidency is just super passionate about intellectual property theft by the Chinese, or maybe it's just one more of those things, one more of those dominoes that we can push over and see what else falls down with it, that continues to build a mental case for the populace of the United States of America to say, yes, we should go kill those bastards. Stacking the deck, man. A $3 trillion stimulus package passed the House, but the Senate is opposing it. It is believed that it would take several weeks for an agreement to be made for any new stimulus to move forward, which $3 trillion, only $3 trillion. It's just $3 trillion. Don't worry about debt. Who cares about debt? You just print more money and then you have no more debt. It's as simple as that. Listen, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez broke this down for me. I totally understand it now. We don't need to worry about money. When we don't have money, we just make more money. That's it. The end. I just made a Marine's brain explode. With thoughts. With thoughts. He ran away. 2 or more eyewitness accounts. Continuity of infrastructure and supply chains. Kroger is ending its $2 per hour extra pay for workers and is replacing it with a one-time bonus of several $100s. The decision has received some backlash. Target, Amazon, and Starbucks are expected to end their extra pay programs as well around the end of May. Yet again, another economic crisis indicator. It's just unsustainable in that business model to continue to pay that many people that much extra money. And you know, the flip side of that, honestly, depending on how you look at that, could be an indicator that it's a return to normal. See, they're getting back to normal. Maybe. I think they're running out of money. And I also think they probably expended any influx of federal capital that they had to make those programs happen in the first place. They're like, yeah, it was a good idea while it lasted, but we're done. We're not going to spend our money on it. We'll spend your money on it. If we can just go ahead and get some more of your money out of your wallet, that would be great, because we need to use that yeah, we're all about capitalism as long as we can just get a whole bunch of federal money. Roger that. There have been several reports of people resisting going back to work when possible because they get more from unemployment benefits than they do from working. Yet another economic crisis indicator and an example of Rome burning. When you pay people more money to stay home than they can earn at work. Where's the sustainability in that as a culture, as a people, as an economy? It's non-existent. Also, where's your work ethic, people? I don't want a damn dime from the federal government, state government, local government. If I've earned it, if I've performed services or delivered goods and you owe me that money, that's fine. But you don't owe me that money simply because I exist. That's stupid. Stupid. With a T on the end of it, because that's how children say it. Because it's so basically stupid that even children know that it's stupid. It's like that sign at the national parks, please don't feed the animals, they become dependent. Oh, by the way, here's your check for existing. But I digress. In Oakland, California, the police department has closed its registry unit due to the virus. Unfortunately, this is where many of the city's sex offenders are required to check in every month. So no up-to-date addresses or other information is available for transient sex offenders due to the temporary closure. Yet another example of Rome burning. Y'all are distracting me. No 20 gauge on birds. Use a 22.
Compost.
What? Well, we'll eat that bastard too. Okay, I'm gonna do the report now. Continuing reports reveal that various state and local governments are ordering or are requesting that certain businesses obtain contact information for patrons. Some pushback has been reported so far. Good news. No, we're not doing that. Well, but the mayor said, I don't care what the mayor said. The Fourth Amendment to the Constitution of these United States of America is no, we're not doing that. So, in Oakland, we talked about that. Contact tracers are being recruited and trained around the country. They are expected to test, trace, and isolate people who may have been infected. Another example of tyranny. And of course, and we're going to get to this in the misinformation portion of the report. Get off of me. We got to go back to the bugs on me dance. We'll get to this later in the report. However, no, you don't get, that's not how government works. You don't get to tell me, well, sir, we have to have your information. No. And as a business owner, you don't get to tell me that I have to collect this information in order to stay in business. It directly violates the United States Constitution, which codifies God-given rights. The rights don't come from the Constitution. It simply lays out, and among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That means there's a whole bunch of them, but some of these are life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, right? All men are created equal. All women are created equal and endowed by their creator with certain inalienable rights. Roger that. So I don't care what the governor says or the mayor says or the city council says. I frankly do not care one effing iota what they say if it's not in line with the Constitution. And if you don't like what the Constitution says, use the metrics given to you within the Constitution to amend it to your liking. The end. Officials have determined that the U.S. bulk power system is a point of vulnerability. We've touched on that. Another example of Rome burning. Attacks on the equipment could have a devastating impact on national defense, emergency services, critical infrastructure, and the economy. Frankly, as we've addressed previously, if the grid goes down and stays down for a good long while, everybody be screwed, yo. Repeat, everybody be screwed, yo. That's bad. That's really, really bad. And so I would implore you to please have an idea of what you're going to do for the very basics. How are you going to stay warm or stay cool? How are you going to get water? How are you going to continue to preserve your food? Light your house? Do you have anybody in your home who's medically dependent upon electricity? What's your plan for that? Because when that goes away, when, not if, but when, and it could be, gosh, I really don't want to jump into this rabbit hole again, but suffice it to say that the fragility of the national power transmission infrastructure is so high that it's not going to take a coordinated effort on behalf of bad actors to make it go away. That's certainly a possibility, but it's not the only possibility. It could just be that a freaking tree line falls on what's called an overbuilt structure in Pasadena, and that blows a fuse, which backfeeds a transformer, which causes a cascading failure that wipes out the whole West Coast. Boom, no electricity. Oh, and by the way, we're not importing anything from China anymore, which is where those giant transformers come from. Now we have issues. See what I mean here? So take that crap seriously, please. Individual businesses nationwide are attempting to resist the orders as financial pressure becomes unbearable. Often they are backed by citizens, militia, and protesters. Good. Again, these orders, if they're not founded upon the American Constitution, I don't care. Well, it's a state of emergency, Bear. People have emergency powers. Right. But we hold these truths to be self-evident. That's the way that it is. And as I've said before, I much prefer dangerous freedom to comfortable slavery. Don't save me from me, bro. Don't even try and save me from anybody else. Unless it's on like an international scale, in which case, I like the Department of Defense. Y'all keep doing your jobs. But pretty much everything else, cat it. People are like, Bear, you should be president in 2024. I'm like, I don't even think you have an idea of what that would look like. It'd be radical. All the government programs, all of them. Well, how are the farmers going to plant their corn? Gone. Free market, baby. What about the old people and their Social Security? Gone. Because it's completely unsustainable. It doesn't work. Well, what about the Federal Reserve? Gone. It's all gone. What does it say in the Constitution? That's what we're going to do. Everything after that, if it's not actually an amendment to the Constitution, we're not doing it. Yeah, it would be radical. It would be highly radical. So I think y'all like the idea of President Bear a lot more than you would like Bear Actual as president. Okay? But I digress again. A Western New York law firm has sued New York's Governor Cuomo and its Attorney General for abuse of power. Good. He's a tyrannical a-hole. Keep going. A Pennsylvania lawmaker has called for the impeachment of Governor Tom Wolf. Good. He's a tyrannical a-hole. Keep going. There have been several reports of goof-ups when it comes to absentee voting and ballot delivery and reception. Most recently, Ohio's first mail-in primary saw 300 Butler County ballots lost in the mail, not delivered in time for the deadline. Well, first of all, if you're depending upon the United States Postal Service to execute its job with the utmost of clarity and just no. And listen, I have friends that work for the post office, and I love y'all. You're awesome. However, as somebody who ships a fair amount of packages with the United States Postal Service daily, let's just say that their customer service is egregiously terrible, and their ability to actually perform the scope of the work that's given to them is questionable at best. So yeah, let's just put them in charge of sending ballots as well. If you privatize that, you know, put it in the hands of FedEx, I bet you they'd get there. Bear, that would cost more money. Well, the post office is what, $7 billion in debt? Every couple of years they come begging for another handout. We can't pay our retirement if we don't get more money. Well, maybe you should adjust your numbers, morons. Well, we can't get people to do the work. Then farm it out to somebody else. Scratch my head. A different kind of sanctuary city has cropped up in Central California. Officials in Atwater have unanimously agreed not to enforce the state restrictions. Local authorities won't interfere with any business or church that decides to reopen ahead of state restrictions. Good. Keep going. The Senate passed a bill that would allow the FBI to search your browsing and search history without a warrant. The bill was amended, so it will go back to the House for another vote. Okay. No. Call your reps, send them angry emails, send them this clip right here. No, you don't get to do that. Period, the end. You don't get to do that. Well, Bear, they're already taking your data. This is completely different. Privacy? Yeah, hey, here's the deal. Unreasonable search and seizure, the Fourth Amendment, which were the rights of what? The rights of everyone. But what were they called before they became the Fourth Amendment? The rights of assertion? The rights of...
No, the rights of assistance was...
Rights of assistance. Thank you. Yeah, there's some guy named Yankee Survival who's got a YouTube channel where he's been talking about this stuff recently. He just also happens to be sitting on my porch right now. Yeah. No! How about that for an answer? No! Rights of assistance. Whatever. Conservative Christian leaders have sued North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper, alleging that the restrictions against indoor services larger than 10 people during the pandemic violates their right to worship freely. They are absolutely correct. They are absolutely correct. And our founding fathers would be stacking bodies by now. They left the greatest empire in the world on freaking wooden ships with stones the size of bowling balls. Like, we're going to go over there. And we're going to go worship our Creator as we see fit over there, away from you tyrannical a-holes. And then what happened? The tyrannical a-holes showed up over here, and they're like, y'all need to shut it down. They're like, cool story, chap. We're going to tax your whiskey. And they're like, no, okay, now we're going to scalp your asses. And they're like, well, maybe we can still be friends. We're like, no, we don't really like that. And we're like, we're going to take some more of your money. And we're like, we're going to throw all your shit into the harbor in Boston. And then they're like, well, that wasn't very nice of you. And they're like, leave. They're like, let's have a wall. And we're like, all right, sounds good. Leave. All because of religious freedom. All because of, and yes, I just paraphrased the American Revolutionary War for y'all. So you're welcome. Let's just get that into every classroom in America. Just that right there. Okay, thank you.
You get 1812, which was like round 2.
Yeah, and then the War of 1812 is like, we're back for some more. Leave. So anyway, our founding fathers, our great-great-great-grandparents would be stacking bodies by now. We need permission from the government to assemble to worship freely? No. How about no? How about no? I don't need your permission to exist. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal and endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights. but now I need your permission to go seek the face of my Creator. Now, I'll be honest with you. You don't need a church building to find the face of your Creator, but who the hell are you to tell me that I can't go looking for him there and to go fellowship with my brothers and sisters and people that I love and to seek to worship the way that I see fit, not the way that you see fit? That's bullshit. The Texas Supreme Court has recently lifted the hold on evictions and debt collection in their state. That's an economic crisis indicator. That means if you've been getting by thus far in Texas because you haven't had to pay your rent or pay your mortgage, that's about to end. And so just heads up on that. 25 GOP House members have signed a letter asking... Rod, positively identify that asshole. Excuse my language, internet. And put rounds on him. By the way, you have a teenager, preteen approaching. The lane is not clear. 25 GOP House members have signed a letter asking Pennsylvania's district attorneys to ignore any citations issued for violating Governor Tom Wolf's COVID-19 shutdown. Good. Keep going. And this is all under legal and political. A lot going on legal and political. Under medical, repeating, clinicians suspect COVID-19 will cause other more lasting issues than previously suspected. Strange complications emerging in children who have had the disease. Additionally, more waves of the outbreak are expected as restrictions lift. According to a U.S. report, the virus will likely last at least 18 to 24 months, though it should weaken as it mutates. Societal and general. Fiscal impacts of this pandemic are now affecting emergency response. We've talked about that. If you get in a jam and you need help in a lot of jurisdictions and municipalities, they don't have the money. Remember, hide over bore, you're 0 to 25. Okay, just letting you know, once you have a good backstop. A lot of jurisdictions and municipalities do not have the money to respond to disaster right now, and we're actually seeing that in action currently. They're like, hey, y'all are kind of on your own. But the good news is we're actually pretty damn good when we're on our own. If you just leave us the hell alone and let us do what we do, we're good to go, man. I mean, cleaning up after Hurricane Katrina, I had an inspector from the Army Corps of Engineers shut me down because I was running a chainsaw without the proper PPE. I was cutting one limb. Well, yeah, Bear, but you could have gotten injured. Yeah, I'm also a freaking adult. I'll take that risk. Thank you very much. Okay? But good thing he was there to protect me from myself, or I could have maybe possibly gotten injured. I've been running chainsaws longer than that noob been alive at that point, but whatever. Maybe that's an overstatement, but suffice it to say that I've made a lot of money with a chainsaw in my hand. I think I could cut one limb. People are continuing to protest and in some cases sue due to the restrictions. People are demanding to be allowed to do what it takes to feed their families without backlash from the government. Here's the deal. Don't demand, just do. Just do. Well, Bear, they're going to take my license. Sue them. Well, Bear, they're going to shut me down. Don't let them. Good shot. Don't let them. Just go to work. Just go to work. Here's the thing. One at a time they can suspend your license. One at a time they can shut you down. 100 at a time, 1,000 at a time, 10,000 at a time, 100,000 at a time. What are they going to do? What if your entire city decided on Monday, we're opening up for business? Cops gonna come shut all of you down? How about y'all just stand on Main Street? No. Love you, bro. But no. No. I have a family to feed. I have bills to pay. You don't get to tell me that me feeding my family is non-essential. We're mitigating risk. We're not taking unnecessary risk here, right? We're doing everything that we can. Gloves, mask, shield, whatever. But I gotta make money. I gotta pay my bills. I am commanded by my Creator. There's somebody out there smarter than I am who probably has some fancy letters after the name. Take this and run with it. 1 Timothy 5 verse 8. He who does not work has denied the faith and is worse than an infidel, worse than an unbeliever. Well, you can make a religious freedom argument on that. Let's have that argument. You don't get to tell me that I can't work. I am told in my scriptures in the New Testament, 1 Timothy 5 verse 8, he who does not work has denied the faith and is worse than an infidel. You don't get to tell me I can't work. This is my religious conviction. Ah, there we go. I have to work. I have to feed my family. You're gonna make me an unbeliever because I can't take my ass to work and do my job? Are you gonna pay my bills because I'm shut down? No, you're not. Am I gonna get any money out of the SBA on all these random loans that are going around to pay my bills? No, I'm not. I don't even want it. But you don't get to tell me that I can't work. So yeah, they can shut down one person. They can maybe shut down 10 people. They're not shutting down 100 people. They're not shutting the whole city down. Take it, run with it. I'm over it. We're back to work. We're not being stupid about it, but we're back to work.
No, sir.
Not yours. Let me see him.
Good size.
Yeah.
That's a good amount of meat on this bird.
Dinner. It's a Freedom Ranger right there. Was a rooster. Now it's gonna, I think we'll fry him.
No.
What do you think?
Not yours.
Good size feet on him. Bear, that is so terrible. No, this is where food comes from. This is why you should be independent of the system. This channel is called Bear Independent for a reason, okay? Because when they say, you can't go to the store and buy groceries, I'm like, okay, cool story. Y'all have fun with that. Here you go. You know what to do with them.
Yes, sir.
All right. Getting back to the brief. Food prices rose 2.6% in April, the biggest jump seen in 46 years. Yet again. Less of an impact on us here because we got a pen full of meat birds. I got paddocks full of sheep. I got a goat eating poison ivy in my front yard right now, right? I got laying hens I can hear cackling because they're making me eggs right this very moment. So it sucks that food prices rose 2.6% this past month. Fiscal impact on my home is essentially zero. That's the way we are convicted to live our lives and have been for a couple of years. And it's like, wow, and it all kind of makes sense now. Food banks are overwhelmed. The video of one Missouri food bank's line of cars was shown to be about a mile long. A Vermont food bank estimated that 1,900 cars showed up to receive boxes of food at the Edward F. Knapp State Airport on Friday. As the demand far exceeded supply, people had to be turned away. Food shortage, man. A South Carolina gym replaced the closed sign hung by police on the door with the Bill of Rights and reopened despite the governor's orders. That, more of that. Do that. And to be clear here, I'm not looking for conflict. I don't think I've ever started a fight in my life, but I've finished a bunch of them. I abhor bullies. My crew in middle school and high school was all the weirdos. The 4 foot tall, 4 foot wide girl that played the clarinet, and the Jewish kid that weighed 74 pounds soaking wet, and like the jocks that couldn't get along with the rest of the jocks, and just like everybody, all just the social outcasts that had no crew. That was my crew. And man, you pick on me all you want. We're good. We can exchange words. That's fine. I don't have a problem with that. You pick on one of my people, that's just the way that I am. And so I'm not looking for a fight here. But don't go picking on my people. And y'all are my people. Okay, to some extent, this circle is big enough that y'all are my people. This dude in South Carolina or woman in South Carolina who did this at the gym, that's perfect. I'm not looking for a conflict here. But you don't get to pick on us. You don't get to just say, well, You're closed. No, I'm not. Well, the governor says, I don't care what the governor says. The governor doesn't get to issue any credos that supersede the highest law of the land, the Constitution of these United States of America. And we're either going to adhere to that or we're not. And if we're not, if we are officially in America 3.0, good. Now we know gloves are off, roger that. Let's respond accordingly. So pick one, government. What do you want? If it is a state of emergency, oh, you get lots of extra powers, us too. There's a lot of stuff that goes right out of the window in a state of emergency on both sides of that argument. Let's not play those games. That's stupid. You play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. You don't get to shut me down. You don't get to shut that gym down. You don't get to shut down Main Street. This is absolutely stupid. Good job. More of that. Do more of that. Water. Intel at bearindependent.com. Intel at bearindependent.com. How do you get your intel to bear? Intel at bearindependent.com. Also, if you want to say nice words to the dance monkeys, they live at intel at bearindependent.com. That's where you will find them. Hero Soap Company. Have I think a pretty good video coming out on the Hero Soap Company. Made by veterans. Made here in the United States of America, in Arizona. Small business, veteran owned. A portion of their proceeds go to support charities that support. People be trying to call me. People be trying to call me while I'm right in the middle of talking about Hero Soap. It's handmade, made in America, with goat's milk and essential oils in it. And it's good to go, man. It's really good to go. You can use promo code BEAR. You'll get a little bit of a discount, and that's how they'll know that you watch this stupid show. So check that out. Hey, honey, can you call the equipment rental place, please? Number's on the machine if you need it. I think they just tried to call me. And then bearindependent.com is where our store is. That store is a large part of what helps us support our household during these global times of chaos, as well as 10 total households that are supported by Bear Independent currently, and in part or in whole, and that's freaking awesome. And so here you have, this is the bare minimum kit. Okay, let's maybe we'll get it right out of the sun. Let's come back here, right here. How's this? All right, so this is the bare minimum kit. It's about that big, purpose-built blowout kit. Handmade, made in America, guaranteed forever, hand stitched. See that right there? It's got the Bear logo on it. Okay, you hang this on your plate carrier, chest rig, war belt. I don't know, stick it in your purse, whatever works for you. Okay, something bad happens. Right, pop that open, grab the handle, pull this out. You got your combat gauze right there on the top. This is an additional, but you can order one of those to go with it. If you want combat gauze on the top, you can put a SWAT tee up there, an additional cat tourniquet, compressed gauze, rolled gauze, sea locks, whatever floats your boat. Put it right up there, got it good to go. Then you pull that tab, there's your kit, okay? Surgical tape right here, and it's Velcroed in, but if you need it, you just rip and it comes out. 6-inch emergency trauma dressing, decompression needle, cat tourniquet, nitrile gloves, and then in here you've got what I call the stack. It's the same stack that's in all of our first aid kits, and it's 7 1/4-inch North American Rescue shears, nasopharyngeal airway, 2 5x9 gauze pads, and 2 full-size high-fin chest seals. 2. And what's actually pretty cool is we've noticed, because you can get the guts only if you just want the pouch, you can get just the pouch, just the internals only, or the whole kit at the website. We've noticed, because we've packed a few guts only, it actually takes up more space to pack the guts only than it does to pack one of these bare minimums. Same thing with the Bear Fact. The way the pouch is designed is just gets it all super tight. So you can get those at bearindependent.com. They're available in Marpat Woodland, Marine Pattern Camo Woodland with the OD. So that is reg. That is reg. Here, tell the people. You know these things. Just tell them briefly. Tell them briefly.
So the last time I checked, when it comes to the Marine Corps uniform, for units that are utilizing frog gear, their hook pattern for their hook and loop that's sewn onto their shoulder pockets is all drab. And the outside of this pouch, the hook for it is all drab. So throw on a red cross on it, matches your camouflage pattern. I don't see why a unit would complain unless you were in Gen Pop and they were like, yeah, we don't want you to wear that. Well, I'd put the guts of it inside of the one that I was issued at the minimum because it's better than what we were issued. So later, y'all.
Cool story. Go make meat. Yep. Okay. So he don't know anything. He's just a jarhead. It's okay. We love him anyway. Just kidding. Thank you. Appreciate your expertise. So anyway, you can get these at bearindependent.com. Yeah, lead time. They're handmade, made in America. Like I said, the lead time on these things is 3 to 5 weeks, but you will get one. I promise you, you will get one.
Want 2 birds?
Yeah, why not? 2 is 1, 1 is none. Anyway, gosh, we got a cruise, man. Thanks for being here. Single Accounts Insider Intel Miscellaneous. Viewer in Panama. Being in the tropics, an unintended consequence of the shutdown has been a lack of air conditioning, leading to mold and rotted products and clothing. Therefore, the country's 4 million people now have an economy that is facing millions in losses as well as the loss of businesses. Fewer people seem to be taking this seriously across the country. Bear Nation has reported the population in various areas is wearing fewer masks, practicing less social distancing, and generally going out more. I think people have just had enough. Now, if you are in a high-risk category, if you're over 60 years old, if you're obese, or you have pre-existing health conditions, immunocompromised, things of this nature, then you probably need to be taking this more seriously. But there is a portion of the population that, it's not that we're taking it not seriously, but we're mitigating risk. We're taking calculated risk with this, as is our right to do so. A viewer in Omaha, Nebraska noted that Sam's Club was completely sold out of adult bicycles and is rationing rice to 1 bag per person. Food scarcity much? A Navy corpsman said, after serving my contract with the Navy honorably, I'm being told that separation requests and transfers to the inactive reserve, where you finish your contract without having to report for duty, are being denied. We are essentially being stop-lossed and involuntarily extended. This hasn't happened since the height of the Iraq War. Repeat. Stop-lossed. They're holding on to their people. They're not letting them go, even though contractually they're in a position to be let go. And wanting to be let go, they're not letting them go. This hasn't happened since the height of the Iraq War. Whiskey, Alpha, Romeo. A contributor's recent trip to restaurant supply store revealed pintos and long grain white rice were only available in 100-pound bags. Prices are up about 50% from February. I'll take 100-pound bags. Throw 10 of them in the back of the pickup truck. Let's do this thing. That's okay. If you can get them, get them. Prices are up about 50% since February, but they're still, from what I've seen, about $1 a pound for pintos, which some would say, well, man, that's ridiculously high. And it is ridiculously high compared to a year ago, but it's way better than starving to death. And I guarantee you, you've bought 50 bucks worth of stuff you didn't need on Amazon in the last week or two. I guarantee it. Guarantee it. So, there you go. Bean stock was about 20% of normal. No pork except some miscellaneous bacon packs. Beef was up another 20%, 65% above February prices. Now, I've talked to, well, here we go. Large eggs, $27 for the 15 dozen bulk packs. There's pics of this on Patreon. I've talked to several people who have contacted private butchers. And One brother told me that the first date that he can get to butcher one of his cows, a steer, actually not a cow, is in January 2021. That's how filled up private processors are. So, time to learn. Specialization of labor is a wonderful thing. And it's the type of thing when you have a critical mass of people doing their jobs and a critical mass of revenue in the system, it works, and it works really well. And it's one of the things that has greatly contributed to us having the quality of life that we have. But I've said it before and I mean it, we have to get better at keeping the old ways. Knowing how to kill a chicken, cut its head off, pluck the damn thing or skin it, pull the meat out of it, get the guts out of it, and what do you do with this thing now? Not just have it appear on a nice, cute little piece of styrofoam with a diaper underneath it and saran wrap over the top of it, and then whine and complain, well, you know, those things get passed through a bleach solution and it's no good for, not here they don't. Well, they've got, and you realize that we have all the buzzwords without trying. Free range, check. Organic, check. Cruelty free, check. Antibiotic free, check. Pasture raised, check. Without trying. All that crap is just buzzwords to get you to feel better about buying some subpar piece of meat in the first place. Okay? We have to get better at doing these things. Butcher your own food. It matters. It really, really, really matters. And the more you do of it now, the less you have to think about it when it may be the only way that you get protein into your body. A viewer drove through southeast and northeast Nebraska and noted that the fields on the east side of the state are up and going, and most already sprouting and or planted. Looks like crop production is on schedule, if not a couple weeks early when compared to the flooding last year. This is good news, as previous reports have noted a lack of activity in fields. In Texas, there's a manufacturer of food processing machinery that had one person who had a false positive test, which caused a week-long shutdown. This shows just how fragile the supply chain can be, given the hysteria wrapped around this COVID-19. I don't even want to call it bull crap. I'm just going to say the response to it is bull crap. Food shortage indicator. One viewer noted that the taconite mines, we're going to go with taconite mines, in northern Minnesota have nearly all been closed or severely slowed down with large layoffs. These industries cannot just simply be turned immediately back on. There is a reason that they never shut down, not even for Christmas. Note, taconite or whatever is an iron-bearing rock which is processed into pellets which are used to make steel. Economic collapse much? Mainstream media is beginning to report on a current period of grand solar minimum, which scientists say could lead to freezing weather, earthquakes, and famine. A little late, bro. Adapt 2030 and Ice Age Farmer have been talking about this for as long as I've been aware of them, which is years. And so if you want actual reporting on that with actual clarification, I recommend Adapt 2030 and the Ice Age Farmer, Christian, the Ice Age Farmer. Both excellent YouTube channels. And then that Yamasa Ama Ventures dude has some pretty good stuff as well as far as food prices, futures, livestock and agriculture. I enjoy his videos when I have time to watch YouTube, which is not often. Those are typically the channels that I'm watching. We're not killing another one?
They're learning to be quiet when I'm around now.
Oh, so you can't PID a rooster?
Nope.
They'll figure it out. International. Global health experts have warned of social unrest and famine as a result of the pandemic. Yup. Canadians are protesting Trudeau's tyrannical gun ban. Good. Let them feel the weight of you. Let them feel the weight of you. And this is for everybody within the sound of my voice. Let them feel the weight of you. Again, we're not looking for a fight, but let them feel the weight of you. You can't shut down an entire city unless that entire city is willing to be shut down. You can't mandate that an entire nation's guns are now just, unless you let them. And boy, there's a rabbit hole I could jump into here, but it's time that we quit being wussies They're just bending over backwards. Whatever your will is, sir, whatever it is, call no man master but your Father in heaven. That comes from Yeshua Messiah, Jesus the Christ. And the rest of us are like, oh my gosh, the governor said, oh my gosh, Trudeau said,
Our governor for Oklahoma just passed an anti-red flag law.
Yeah, in Oklahoma, they just passed an anti-red flag law. That bill's been around for 18 months or so. It passed.
It's law now.
Good job, Oklahoma. It's law now. You actually earn a felony by trying to report somebody as a red flag.
They took that paragraph out.
Did they? Bastards. Whatever.
Almost.
It'll come back. We can do this, Oklahoma. We can do this. But anyway, they only get away with what you let them get away with. This is very simple, people. No. No. Where are your lines in the sand? You really need to start asking yourself, where are my lines in the sand? What are the things that are absolutely hard stop, no go, you're not doing that? Or I'm not doing that. There's no way, there's not a single scenario that I can envision where this happens. What are those things for you? Know where they are. And then when you start seeing yourself walking up to that line, it's probably time to change your posture a little bit. It's probably time to change the way that you conduct yourself a little bit. Maybe it's time to take certain precautions. But these jokers only get to do what we let them do. And we've let them get away with literal murder for too long. And again, I'm talking peaceful here. But July 4th, Waking the Giant, coast to coast, from sea to shining sea, on Independence Day, please, as communities, stand up and just say, no, we're going to assemble freely, as is our God-given right. We're going to fellowship because we can. We're going to run our businesses because we can. You don't get to tell us what to do. It's the other way around. And coordinate this with your local law enforcement. Coordinate it with EMS. Make this happen. Your neighborhood, your community, your church, your faith group, your city, your county, whatever. But get together, celebrate independence in the face of tyranny. In public, let them see you. Let them feel the weight of you. Because individually, one by one, yes, they will shut your businesses down. Individually, one by one, they will tell your pastor, no, you can't have services here. But when there's 100 of you, 1,000 of you, 10,000 of you going, no, I don't think you will, that really changes the situation, doesn't it? And again, I'm talking peaceful here, peaceful. But that doesn't mean we stand by and just let them do whatever the hell they want to do. Same thing in Canada. Good. You should protest Trudeau. Let them feel the weight of you. New Zealand has reduced its alert level and eased some of its restrictions. China's ambassador to Israel, 57-year-old Du Wei, was found dead inside his official residence Sunday morning. His death is not currently being treated as suspicious. Whiskey Alpha Romeo much? Debunking misinformation. While we reported on some of Washington Governor Inslee's concerning implications about the contact tracing program currently being rolled out in its state, it's important to note that the Washington National Guard, Lieutenant Colonel Steve Hobbs, has stated that participation is voluntary, that individuals are only contacted if they agree to it beforehand and can end the phone call at any time. However, Inslee himself has essentially said that this is going to be mandatory. You don't get to leave your house if you don't comply. They will assign somebody to you to go get your groceries and your medications, but they're not going to let you leave your house. No! Liberty, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. No. No. Belief. The government will be injecting tracing microchips into all of us with the vaccine that would presumably be forced. The reality here is that there is a potential for RFID technology to be used during the vaccination process, but the RFID chip is attached to the syringe to be used by the nurse to rapidly and easily enter data about time and location of the vaccination. The technology of concern is not a chip being injected into the human body, but rather a chip on the syringe used to rapidly submit information about vaccination delivery. Currently, vaccination information is submitted through a lengthier computer process rather than a quick tap of a phone. Additionally, a real-time injection map could be created with the syringe-tapped chip data. And then the last thing that we're going to address in misinformation, but there's over a page of it here, and the entirety of this is on Patreon, is the belief is Trump is going to use the military to force vaccinations on all of us. We've talked about this, y'all. The reality is, during an interview with Fox, President Trump said he would rapidly mobilize the U.S. military to distribute a vaccine against the coronavirus as soon as it's ready, focusing first on the most vulnerable among the population, such as the elderly. All we know so far is that the military would be used to move the product quickly, rather than currently relying on the faltering supply chain logistics that ain't moving very quickly. I don't think that the National Guard's gonna show up and be like, take the vaccine. I think they're gonna say, there's vaccine here. If you'd like some, please come get some. We would like the those who are in the highest threat categories to receive it first. At-home test kits are scams, blah, blah, blah. The remainder of this, and blah, 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 with all due respect, because it's all good stuff. It's all on Patreon. Patreon.com, look for Bear Independent. Actionable. If you cannot acquire a freezer for meat, remember that pressure canning is an option. If you need food, you can get rice from the Asian supply stores, dry goods from Amish and Mennonite stores, large food orders from restaurant supply stores. You can contact your local farmers and buy direct. Form large groups for orders and order processing so that you can buy a cow and butcher it together as a community so that you do have something to eat on the 4th of July, Independence Day. Silver linings. Last Friday was a viewer's daughter's 2nd birthday. Quote, I would love a birthday shout out from Bear. Happy birthday, kiddo. The whole of Bear Nation says happy birthday. I hope you had an awesome birthday. It's crazy that you're 2 years old and you're watching Bear Independent. I don't know what to think about that, but good job, question mark, parents. She loves to watch with mommy and daddy and even participated in Women's Group Wednesday on Patreon this past week. As soon as she hears Bear's voice, she comes running. Happy birthday, kid. Happy birthday. I hope that the nation that you inherit is stronger and better when you're my age than it is right now. And yet another reason why we, as citizens of these United States of America, need to quit being lackadaisical in our responsibility to hold our elected officials accountable. A tattoo artist who could not go to work because of threats from police is still able to sell Angora rabbits. Lots of buyers, and the rabbits aren't shy. They have crops in the ground and their bees are doing great. Awesome. A viewer says his family has decided to implement a plan to get ready to move to a homestead. They're currently getting as much food supply established as they can. Quote, my wife has decided carrying a gun is a needed item to protect her and our kids when they travel without me. Good. We've grown closer as a couple through these interesting times, working together to make our new long-term goals a reality as soon as possible. Awesome. A man's wife is now on board with prepping. Quote, Alaska has not been acting as foolish as much of the lower 48. We've added additional raised beds and 17 chickens with a coop large enough for another 13. We're praising our creator that we live in a free state with minimal tyrannical government. Awesome. A contributor's main homestead is flourishing with gardens, a greenhouse, a huge laying flock, pregnant goats, and thriving bottle calves. Quote, today I bartered 4 chickens for yarn with an old friend. We are organizing meetups with others in our area through the Bear Forum and are excited to see what community forms. I have been able to source medical supplies for our hospital in a bag and are well on our way to having it fully stocked. That's awesome. We do have the stomp bag in the store if you just want a one and done, and we're just starting to receive the items that we need to fulfill those and ship those, so those will be shipping out shortly. The stomp bag is SEAL Team Operators Medical Pack because everything needs a high-speed acronym, but yeah, it's expensive. Believe me, it's expensive. And I'm telling you this is the guy who's selling it, but it's considerably better than any other stomp bag on the market, and we've had it independently reviewed by a couple of people that would know. And yeah, it's really good. And if you can't do that, then don't. Please don't spend money you don't have. Get a backpack and start putting things like gauze, tape, gloves in it, over-the-counter medicines, things of that nature. Gauze, tape, and gloves fixes a lot of your problems. A little bit of trauma, maybe some chest seals, shears for sure, tooling, some sutures, super glue works really good, steri strips, things of that nature. Clotting agent if you're into that, disinfectant, a couple of scalpels, some hemostats, so forth and so on. And the idea here is to have the capability that if somebody does suffer a critical trauma, that you can address the wound and then transport to somebody who knows more than you. And I like having that kind of stuff in a backpack because then, hey, if you got to kill that thing, kill it. You're fine. You ain't going to interrupt me. Because then it goes where we go. If we're going to enter into a situation that's like legit, hey, we got to do something now, we got it with us. And it's a lot more capability than the bare fact or the bare minimum. It's designed to be. It has essentially 4 bare minimums worth of stuff in it, plus a lot of additionals. I think Traco dude is here. If you want to maybe go see him, please. So anyway, that's awesome. Hospital in a bag, and we are well on our way to having it fully stocked. We are still stocking food to the rafters as well as canning jars. We found a used freezer and picked it up today. That's awesome. Firewood is being cut and stacked by the whole family. While we are busy and tired, it's an honest tired. Amen. One viewer says, I work at a hospital in South Carolina and am currently furthering my medical education at Greenville Technical College. I'm purchasing and stockpiling medical necessities, gauze, alcohol swabs, suturing supplies, imagine that, etc., so I can help my community when help is needed most. Thank you all for what you do. I listen to the report every day. You know, I get a lot of people too, like, well, if you have somebody who's injured so bad that they require medical assistance that you have to transport them for, what's the point of even saving them in the first place? To which I would say, how much is the life of your son worth? How about your daughter? How about your wife? How about your best friend? How about your neighbor? How about your grandma? You just gonna let him die? Well, hell, he cut his arm off. Just let him bleed out. We don't need a tourniquet. No. You do everything that you can to save that life. So if you have the defeatist attitude of why even bother treating wounds that require medical assistance, medical intervention beyond my capability, why are you prepping in the first place, bro? Why are you into preparedness? Just give up. Give up now so that you are not a liability to the people around you. I get it. It's scary. Hey, there's a profuse arterial bleed happening right now. What do? Tourniquet that sucker to start with, and then work your way from there. Pack the wound, cover the wound, stabilize the patient. Do we need to transport, so forth and so on? Well, if that exceeds your capability, okay. Number 1, fix your capability now. Number 2, find other people to do life with that do have those capabilities. And number 3, maybe the creator of the universe smiles upon you and provides you exactly what you need when you need it, so that your 3-year-old doesn't bleed out, because that's stupid. Why would we even try and transport a casualty? To where? Figure that out now, so that on the worst day of your life, you're not trying to figure it out in the heat of the moment. See what I mean here? We've received several silver linings so long and accomplished, we literally cannot sum them up adequately. Fruit trees, chickens, goats, turkeys, cattle, crops, mags forming, buildings built, food stored, and on and on and on. So many individuals are turning hard situations like furloughs into massive productivity for their family and their communities, often in spite of physical disability. Great job, Bear Nation. Keep it up. Quote, we greatly appreciate you and your team for what y'all do. Also, the prayers are extremely heartfelt and powerful. We've started discussing our faith and praying together. We will keep doing the things. We love y'all. We love y'all back. Bless you. We've got a list of useful resources here, which you can't see because the sun is bright today. All that's on Patreon. Please check out the forums at bearindependent.com. That's why they exist, so that I'm not a stumbling block for you. People all the time are like, Bear, how do I find people in Palo Alto? I have no idea. I have literally no idea. But you might find them on the forums at bearindependent.com. So I would recommend you look there, because if you're dependent upon me to answer that question, you're gonna be disappointed. That's gonna happen. That's why we created it in the first place. Grindstone Ministries, which is our charitable organization, is looking for an attorney and a grant writer. If you are one of those things and you would like to donate your time to assist in a very badass organization of individuals that go to war for the Father's kingdom and help support those who take care of the least of these, people who have been violently raped and trafficked, we need help. Grindstone's not me. I'm just the person that's blessed to be a part of Grindstone. Grindstone is a couple hundred badasses from all across the country that, when there is a need, put their lives on hold and show up and serve the kingdom. Nobody gets paid. There's not a single paid board member, nothing. We are lean and mean. The vast majority of Grindstone's operational costs come out of my wallet. And so if you are an attorney, or you are a grant writer, not your uncle's cousin's nephew's third boyfriend knows somebody who was one time back in 1984, but you are, please email us. You can email us at grindstoneministries@gmail.com. We need help. Please help us serve the least of these. To support Grindstone, you can drink a cup of coffee, disastercoffee.com. They're freaking awesome. That guy started that business just to generate revenue so that he could funnel it into the hands of good charitable organizations. That's awesome. That is yay capitalism. And one of the organizations that they support is Grindstone Ministries. You can get dressed. Sanctified Supply Co. Shirt I'm wearing right now. Love this shirt. Stay humble and kind. Yes, great reminder. Everybody needs that reminder sometimes. I need it a lot of the time, especially in today's day and age. Stay humble and kind. It's really hard to be an a-hole when you're wearing a shirt that says stay humble and kind. It helps us remember that everybody's going through something. Whether it's this COVID-19 thing or anything else, we're all going through something. And maybe that person that you meet on the street that you kind of want to just wrap your neck around and just shake them, really what they need is a kind word, or just a little bit of instruction and reproof, or they just need somebody to be calm in their life for once. They need help. They don't need your judgment. And so, I love this shirt. SanctifiedSupplyCo.com is where you get it. Awesome people, Jerry and Lucia, and they're a small business, and they're not begging for your money, but if you have some money in your pocket after you've paid your bills, you've paid your debt, you've got food in your pantry, and you're growing your food, you're doing your agriculture, you still got a little bit left over, please check these people out, okay? And then lastly, you can get prepared with Amendment 1 Preparedness. Canned ham radios inside of ammo cans, battery backups. They're awesome. It's an awesome piece of kit. We run them at Grindstone. We run them at our individual different clans that make up our tribe. They're awesome, 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 awesome. Highly portable. You know, they're in a 30 caliber or 50 caliber ammo can, self-contained, everything you need. And it's really cool to be able to take one of those, put it on the shelf, and go, hey, if you need a portable 25-watt radio, boom, battery backup, can charge it off of any 12-volt source. They're awesome, really, really awesome. And so, Chris at Amendment 1 Preparedness, thank you, brother. Just really great people. All right. Patreon.com, you can get the entirety of this report. Please check out the store at bearindependent.com. We really appreciate y'all on that. Patrons, make sure you're checking the daily brief because there's a promo code in there for patrons to be used at the Bear Independent store. Again, please support small businesses. You know, Bill Gates and freaking Jeff Bezos are still gonna have yachts and retirement accounts when this whole thing is over. A recent survey showed that 52% of small businesses are gonna be out of business in the next 6 months. Those small businesses pay mortgages. They buy shoes for kids. They put food in pantries. They make car payments. They buy goats and chickens and, you know, seeds. The small businesses are the lifeblood of communities. If you don't want your community to be another, you know, concrete and asphalt paved cookie cutter image of the same 50 national businesses over and over and over again, it's imperative that you support small businesses, ours or anybody else's. If there's somebody you know that has a small business and you have the scratch, please support them. I would love your revenue, but I don't necessarily need it. If somebody else you can give it to them. And I'm not asking for a handout. I'd like you to buy a good product made in the United States of America, as would hundreds of thousands, millions of other small businesses here. So support a small business. I don't care who it is, just support a small business, please. It's really hard to complain about the system and just buy everything from Walmart.com and Target.com and Amazon.com and Wish.com. And I get it, man. We've tried to do some business with Amazon. It's like pulling teeth. You know, our kits are up there, and I would ask you to please not buy them at Amazon. It's actually a really terrible business model for us. You can get them at bearindependent.com. And it's something that even I am trying to become more and more conscious of. When I have to buy something, rather than just jumping on Amazon to see if it's there, I'm like, I'm gonna see if I can find a small business to get this from first. So yeah, I'll get off of that soapbox. And again, grindstoneministries.com. And we got the Grindstone raffle tickets in the store at bearindependent.com. The raffle is awesome. I've talked about it before. You can see what it is. Just look for the raffle ticket at the store. It's insane. It's over $1,500 in value for a $5 raffle ticket chance to win, and 100% of those proceeds go to funding Grindstone Ministries. So, with that, let's talk to our creator. Thank you, Yankee. Appreciate you doing that. Good? Father, yeah, thank you for a beautiful day. Thank you for honeysuckle and for songbirds and for all the livestock on this property, and Father, all the people. Father, thank you for everybody within the sound of my voice. Father, I pray that you would continue to mold us into the things that you need us to be, what we were fearfully and wonderfully created to be when you first conceived of us. What you made us to be before the world broke us, before sin entered into our lives, and we got all jacked up and busted up and broken. Father, I think that we were made for this time, and that there's lessons to learn here, and that there's work to do. And so, Father, I pray that you just continue to show us what it is you need us to do, and that you would teach us how to do it. Father, I pray that you would use this time to build testimony, that people would feel the weight of you, that they would come back to you, that they would walk in union with you, that they would learn your ways, that they would do your things, that they would be blessed and protected by and provided for by you, Father, and that you would give us this day our daily bread. Amen, Rooster. Father, thank you for redemption and restoration through Yeshua Messiah. Thank you for making a way even for busted up POSs like me to serve your kingdom. Thank you for not giving up on us, even when we've given up on you. Father, if there's anything within the sound of my voice that's not of you, I rebuke it in the name of Yeshua HaMashiach and command it to flee. I pray that you'd fill us up with your Ruach HaKodesh, your Holy Spirit, you'd be indwelt in us, that we would just be awash in you and your peace and your power and your love and your authority, Father, that we would do many mighty things for you this day. Father, thank you for the opportunity to do this. Honestly, thank you. I pray myriad blessings on everybody within the sound of my voice. I pray that you just walk with us and lead us and guide us, that in these uncertain times, as things become more and more chaotic, that we have you, that you are the rock and you are sovereign over all things, that we would heed your words and do your things, and not provoke you to anger through our actions, not forsake you, but remember you and walk with you, and ask that you would just humbly ask that you would just remember us and walk with us. I ask all these things in Yeshua's name. Amen. Y'all have an awesome day, Bear Nation. It's gonna be a good one. It's gonna be precisely what you let it be. If the enemy tries to throw a, what's that scene from Indiana Jones? He throws a spear through the wheel of the motorcycle. Don't let the enemy do that. You got stuff to do today. Stay focused on him. He'll stay focused on you. And you will get to be the light in somebody else's world. Imagine that. That's awesome. Shalom, y'all.